Welcome to Hardly. The book is condensed into a timeline story that fully presents all the key events, their causes, developments, and processes, helping you understand the original. Today, we study together Benjamin Franklin's The Autobiography of Benjamin Franklin, in which we probe into how a relentless pursuit of self-improvement, paired with civic-minded ambition, can elevate one from humble beginnings to global recognition. Benjamin Franklin is one of the most distinguished figures in American history. Don't go away. Hardly, the editor, will be right back with the story. Benjamin Franklin's story begins in Boston, where he was born into a large family. His father, Josiah, was a humble candle and soap maker, and young Franklin was expected to follow in the family trade. However, Franklin had a thirst for knowledge from an early age, spending every bit of money he could find on books. His formal education was brief, but his self-directed learning was relentless. By the time he was 12, Franklin was apprenticed to his older brother James, a printer, which became his first step toward independence. At his brother's print shop, Franklin began to hone his skills, not just in printing, but in writing and debate. His curious mind and eagerness for self-improvement were evident even then. He secretly submitted articles under the pseudonym Silence Dogood, which were published in his brother's newspaper. These witty letters gained popularity, though his brother James was unaware they came from Benjamin. This led to a complicated relationship between the brothers, one filled with conflict and tension. In 1723, after enduring his brother's harsh treatment, Franklin decided to run away to Philadelphia, leaving behind his apprenticeship and striking out on his own. Arriving in Philadelphia was no easy feat. Franklin, then only 17, found himself without connections or resources, hungry and disheveled. Yet, even in such a state, his resilience stood out. He walked the streets of Philadelphia with bread under each arm, trying to find his way in this new city. Soon after, he found work at a local print shop, and his journey of self-discovery truly began. By 1724, Franklin had made such an impression that he was encouraged to travel to London to further his trade skills, a journey that exposed him to the broader world of ideas and opportunities. This phase of Franklin's life is marked by a series of struggles, both internal and external, as he worked to define himself. One of the most telling moments from this period is Franklin's reflection on his youthful mistakes. "I had been, I imagine, rather too saucy and provoking," a candid admission of his imperfections, showing his growing self-awareness. Franklin's early life teaches us that self-improvement often stems from adversity. His ability to reflect on his shortcomings, learn from his mistakes, and adapt to new environments shaped him into the man who would later become a public figure of great influence. His journey from Boston to Philadelphia, and eventually to London, is a testament to the idea that growth comes from pushing through discomfort and uncertainty. This phase sets the stage for Franklin's next chapter, where his public service and philosophical pursuits take center stage. As he begins to find his footing, his ambitions will expand from personal development to benefiting the broader society, laying the foundation for his many contributions to public life. After his return to Philadelphia, Franklin quickly built a successful printing business. His reputation as a diligent and honest tradesman spread, earning him respect in the city. But Franklin's ambitions went beyond commercial success. He was deeply committed to improving the lives of his fellow citizens. In 1731, Franklin spearheaded the founding of the first subscription library in America. This initiative wasn't just about books. It was a reflection of his belief in the power of collective knowledge. By pooling resources, the citizens of Philadelphia could access learning that had been reserved for the elite. Franklin's sense of responsibility toward the community didn't stop there. He organized a volunteer fire department, another reflection of his practical thinking and concern for public safety. The city was prone to devastating fires, and Franklin, seeing this need, helped establish a fire insurance company. These efforts reflected his larger philosophy that practical solutions could address the pressing issues of society. Franklin's intellectual curiosity also led him to the world of science. His experiments with electricity, particularly his famous kite experiment in 1752, gained him international acclaim. During a thunderstorm, Franklin demonstrated that lightning was a form of electrical discharge, a discovery that fundamentally changed scientific understanding. His invention of the lightning rod followed soon after, a practical application of his findings to protect buildings from storm damage. Franklin's curiosity and relentless experimentation opened doors to recognition abroad, earning him membership in the prestigious Royal Society of London. His civic engagements and scientific experiments were all rooted in a sense of duty to improve society. He once remarked, "I conceived the bold and arduous project of arriving at moral perfection." This wasn't just idle ambition. Franklin believed that a virtuous life would lead to a more harmonious society, and he consistently applied this philosophy to his public work. What's remarkable about this period is how Franklin's personal growth mirrored his expanding role in public life. His involvement in education, fire safety, and public welfare shows his evolution from a young, ambitious man to a thoughtful leader deeply invested in his community's well-being. His scientific discoveries, while groundbreaking, were always focused on practical benefits to society, a clear indication of his utilitarian mindset. As Franklin's influence in Philadelphia grew, so did his responsibilities. He wasn't content with improving his city alone. He began to take on larger political and diplomatic roles, which would soon extend his influence far beyond the colonies. In the next phase of his life, Franklin's skills as a negotiator and diplomat would bring him into the global spotlight, shaping his legacy not only as a public servant, but also as a key figure in the birth of a new nation. By the 1750s, Franklin had grown into a man of considerable influence, not only in Philadelphia, but across the colonies. His scientific achievements had earned him international respect, and his success in various civic projects proved his ability to bring about positive change. It was during this period that Franklin began to focus more intently on political matters, particularly the increasingly tense relationship between the American colonies and Britain. In 1757, Franklin was sent to London as an agent for Pennsylvania, tasked with representing colonial interests before the British government. Franklin's time in London was both a period of intense learning and frustration. He was initially optimistic, believing that reasoned negotiation could resolve the conflicts between the colonies and the Crown. However, Franklin quickly discovered that British politicians had little understanding or care about the realities of life in America. His role involved constant mediation, trying to bridge the growing divide between the two worlds. Franklin worked on issues ranging from land disputes to taxes, all while maintaining his belief in the possibility of peaceful resolution. One of the key moments came in 1765 with the passage of the Stamp Act. This law imposed taxes on the colonies without their consent, sparking outrage across America. Franklin recognized the dangerous implications of such measures and became an outspoken critic of British policies, warning of the growing unrest in the colonies. "The colonies are become so populous and so powerful that they will never submit to be taxed by authority of Parliament," he remarked, signaling his realization that reconciliation might be impossible. Despite these frustrations, Franklin remained in London until 1775, attempting to prevent the inevitable conflict. His years there were marked by a deepening disillusionment with British leadership, which consistently ignored colonial grievances. Franklin's diplomatic skills were put to the test, but even his charm and reason could not sway the British government's course. By the time Franklin returned to America, he had come to accept that revolution was the only remaining path. His role as a diplomat in France during the American Revolution would soon follow, cementing his status as one of the most important figures in securing American independence. The later years of Franklin's life highlight his transformation from a local civic leader into a global statesman. His political philosophy, shaped by years of negotiation and compromise, reflects his belief in the balance of power, both within government and between nations. He once remarked, "He that has once done you a kindness will be more ready to do you another than he whom you yourself have obliged," a principle that guided much of his diplomatic work. As Franklin's political career evolved, his focus on diplomacy laid the groundwork for the alliances that would eventually help secure America's victory in the Revolution. His experiences in London not only solidified his understanding of British intentions, but also prepared him for the international stage. What drives someone from humble beginnings to global recognition? A relentless pursuit of self-improvement, fueled by curiosity and a commitment to public service, can transform not only the individual, but also the community and even the nation. Franklin's life showcases this through his early struggles, his scientific discoveries, and his diplomatic efforts. His proactive mindset, like founding a fire company or experimenting with electricity, reflects how personal growth and civic duty work hand in hand to create lasting impact on society. As the editor of Hardly, by studying Franklin's journey, we can learn that the key to navigating complex global issues lies in a blend of practicality, patience, and the readiness to pivot when reason fails. In the future, we must be prepared to adapt our strategies when facing unyielding circumstances, just as Franklin did. In reflecting on Franklin's life journey, we circle back to the key point. Relentless self-improvement, driven by civic-minded ambition, can elevate even the most ordinary individual to extraordinary heights. Franklin's story is filled with moments that remind us how personal growth and public service intertwine. One striking example comes from his early efforts to establish a fire company in 1736. At a time when Philadelphia had no formal system to combat fires, Franklin saw the dire need for such an organization. He didn't wait for others to take the lead. Instead, he gathered a group of volunteers and created the Union Fire Company. This initiative not only saved countless homes, but also showcased Franklin's ability to identify practical problems and craft solutions. It was a simple but powerful demonstration of his philosophy. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. This proactive approach became a hallmark of his leadership style and is still celebrated today. In revisiting his life, we see a man who constantly sought to better himself and his surroundings, never settling for complacency. His journey from a poor runaway to a global statesman underscores the power of curiosity, resilience, and a commitment to the greater good. Through his actions, Franklin teaches us that improving ourselves can have a ripple effect, transforming the communities around us. Franklin's life serves as a reminder that true success isn't just about personal achievement. It's about lifting others along the way.